Hello Year 6 and welcome to Thursday's maths lesson. Big well done for yesterday's volume work. You were absolutely brilliant. I was bowled over by the work that was sent in. Fab to see you using the short multiplication techniques. You did a fab job, so well done. So today, to get our brains warmed up and get us thinking mathematically, we're going to play a game. So you've played this before, hit the button. The easiest way to find it is to go onto Google and type it in. And it will come up with this, and it's up to you what you choose. So if I chose square numbers, comes up like this, tells me the question at the top, so 4 times 4, which I know is 16, 7 times 7, 49, and have a little go. It's timed at the bottom and it will give you a score. So give yourself a couple of games. Don't necessarily just go on times tables, go on something you feel you need to practice. So a couple of games on that, pause the video, get your maths brains warmed up. Okay, so hope you enjoy playing that. I know we really do enjoy playing that when we are in school. So we are carrying on today with measure. So it's calculating time today. So you'll see your learning question is, can I calculate time? So I am going to ask you, and you might have to pause the video and have a little run around for this, to use both your Year 5 book and your Year 6 workbook. So we're doing some out of Year 5 book that we didn't cover. So it's the Year 5 workbook, page 31, but just section 1 and 2. And the Year 6 book, page 30, just section 1. So I'll show you those sections in the book. So this is the Year 5 book. So you need to do section 1 and section 2. And the Year 6 book, just section 1. So that is the work that we are looking at today. So just those parts. So you are calculating time today. So just a little reminder of time. So I want time to be a little bit tricky because it doesn't work in tens and hundreds and thousands. So you can't do it in a column or anything like that. You have to do different strategies. So I first want to think about the units of time. So I want you to pause the video now and see if you can just match up which ones go together. So what does 60 minutes equal? What does 60 seconds equal? So a little pause of the video and see if you can match them up. Okay, so you should have had a little go at that now. So you should have matched up 60 seconds with 1 minute. So there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Then you've got an hour, which is 60 minutes. And you've got 24 hours, which is 1 day. Okay. You are mainly going to be thinking about minutes and hours today. So we're going to calculate our time on a number line. So I'm going to show you 3 different things that you're going to have to do today. So if you look at your Year 5 booklet, you've got some tables to fill in. So it's a journey time. So you've got a departure time and an arrival time, and then how long the journey took. So the first one we're going to look at is if the gap is in the middle and you've got to work out how long the journey took. So if you've got the departure time and the arrival time, how you work out the journey time. So for the journey time then, so this is if you've got a gap in the middle and you've got the arrival time. So on mine it's 10:30. Sorry, the departure time and then the arrival time. So I would always do this on a number line. Time can be really tricky. So a number line is the best way to work it out. So if my journey started at 10:30, then I've got to get to 12:04 in the afternoon. So the best thing to do is count on in hours. So if I add an hour on, the hour will change to 11, but the minutes will stay on 30. So if I can add an hour on, so 10:30 to 11:30. Now, if I wanted to add another hour on, that would take me to 12:30 because the hour would change to 12 and the minutes would stay the same. Now, I can't go to 12:30 because it's 12:04. So now I've got to make my times a little bit smaller. So I know that 30 minutes gets me to 12. Okay. So I've added an hour there on my first jump, and then I've added 30 minutes there. So that gets me to 12. And I need to get to 12:04. So I've just got to add another 4 minutes to get to 12:04. So 4 minutes gets me to 12:04. So I've got my jumps. I've done an hour, I've done 30, I've done four. Okay, so now my final step is to add these together. So it's 1 hour and 34 minutes. So my journey time would be 1 hour 34 minutes. Okay, so that would be if the middle value is missing when I'm looking for a journey time. So what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and have a little go at this one. So this one, the journey starts at 11:15 and finishes at 1:12. So I want you to pause the video in your purple book, have a little go at that one to work out the journey time. Okay, so you should have had a go at that one. So what I would do first is I'd add an hour. So my hour changes to 12 and my minutes stay the same. So that's an hour. Okay, now if I added another hour, that would get me to 1:15. So that's too far. So I'm going to just add 15 minutes to get me to 12:30. So that's 15. Then I can add 30 minutes to get me to 1 o'clock. And then I just need to add 12 minutes to get me to 1:12. Okay, so now I need to add that all together. So I've got 1 hour, so then I've got 15 and 30, so that's 45, then 12, 45, 55, 57. Okay, so this journey time is 1 hour and then 57 minutes. How did you do? Okay, so that is if you have a missing number in the middle, if you've got to work out the journey time. So the next one we're going to look at is if you've got to calculate the arrival time. So if you've got to calculate the end number, the arrival time. So on this one, I've got the time, the departure time, and I know that the journey took 4 hours and 12 minutes. So remember, the first thing is jump an hour. So I'm going to add my hours first for this one. So some of you might be able to do like a big jump and add all 4 hours in one go. But I'll just add the 1 hour at a time. So I'd go 2:15 to 3:15. Remember, the hours changing, the minutes staying the same when I add an hour. So then I'm going to add another hour, and that will get me to 4:15. So that's another hour. Then 5:15. That's another hour. Then 6:15. So I've added all my 4 hours now. Gets me to 6:15. So that's all 4 hours that I've added. So now I just need to add 12 minutes. So you might do that in a 10 and a 2. You might just add the 12 straight off. So if I add 12 minutes, so I add it to the minutes. So it's 15 plus 12. So that's 15 plus 12 is 6:27. So then I've worked out what time it arrives. So I would put 6:27, okay, p.m. Okay, so same again, I want you to have a little go at this. So this is when you've got to find out the arrival time. So you've got the departure time, you've got how long it took, you've got to calculate the arrival time. So have a look at this one. So pause the video now. It starts at 6:20 p.m. and it takes 3 hours and 4 minutes. Okay, so have a little go at that one. Okay, so you should have had a go at that one. So you might think, oh, I can add the 3 hours in one big jump. So I'm going to do that this time because I know that 6 add 3 is 9 and my minutes will stay the same. Okay, so now I'm going to add the 4 minutes on. So add 4 minutes would be 9:24 because it's the minutes that will change this time because I'm adding minutes on. So the arrival time would be 9:24. So that's if you've got to calculate the arrival time. So finally then, if you've got to calculate the departure time. So this time you've got the arrival time and how long it took, and you've got to work out the departure time. So your missing number would be at the beginning here. So if your missing number is here, this is how you calculate it. So this time you've got to work backwards. Okay, so we've got to count backwards this time. So it's 4 hours. So I'll do my hours first, so my minutes will stay the same and my hours will change. So I'm counting backwards. So 14 will become 13:06. So that's 1 hour. Okay, another hour. So that would be 12:06. That's 2 hours. And then another hour. That would be 11:06. So I'm counting back in ones. And then another hour. I'll change that to 1. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 hours to 10:06. Now the tricky bit, I've got to take 35 minutes off. This is key. Please don't put it in a column. It won't work with time. Okay, you've got to use your number line. So I'm going to take the 5 minutes first. So that will take me to 10:01. Okay, then I could count back. I'm going to run out of space here. So I could count back in 10 minutes. I've got 3 lots of 10 minutes. Okay, so these ones are tricky. You'll have to take your time with them when you've got to go backwards. Okay, so 10:01. So that would become 9:51. That's one set of 10. 9:41, then 9:31. Okay, so the departure time for this would be 9:31. Okay, in the morning. So these ones are tricky, so have a little pause now because you're going backwards and that makes it a little bit trickier. So just take your time. So you have got, it arrived at 15:03 and it took 2 hours, 24 minutes. So you've got to count backwards. So have a little go at that one. Okay, so you should have had a little go at that one. So remember hours first. So 1 hour. So my hour would change to 14. My minutes would stay the same. An hour. So I would go to 13. So that's my 2 hours. My minutes stay the same. Then I've got to take 24 minutes. Now it's when it's going over the hour that it makes it tricky. Again, please don't put it into a column. So I would go to 53. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 lots of 10 away. That's my 20. So it would go to 12:53. Then 11:53. And then I can take my 4 minutes off because I've done my 20. Now I'll take my 4. So that would take me to 11:49. Okay. So those ones are quite tricky going backwards to get the departure time. So just do your best. Now when you've filled in that table here, so when you've filled that in, section 2 is some questions on the table. Okay, so it tells you what time is the earliest departure, the latest, which is the longest journey, which is the shortest journey. And you can use this table to work that out when you have filled it in. Okay, so that's in the Year 5 booklet. So remember, it's just section 1 then in the Year 6 booklet. So that's this section. So page 30, section 1. So this is really similar to what we've just done. It's working out the difference. So you put one time at the beginning of your number line and the other time at the end and then calculate in between. So I will show you how to do that. So if I've got to find the difference between 10:37 and 11:06, I'd put 10:37 here. Sorry, it's not 11, it's 1:06 here, and I would count between them, okay? So the best thing to do is to get it to whole numbers. So if I went to the next whole number after this, after 37, actually do your hours first. I think it's easier to do your hours first. So I'd go 10 to 11, so that's 1 hour. And the minutes stay the same. And my next hour would be 12:37. Now, if I do another hour, that would get me to 1:37. That's too far. So now I need to go in minutes. So 37, I'm going to go up to 12:40. So that's 3 minutes. And then I know to get to the next hour, because remember there's 60 minutes in an hour, I need to go from 40 to 60, so that's 20 minutes. That gets me to 1, and then my 6 minutes will get me to 1:06. Okay, so I've got 2 hours, 20, 23, 29. So that's 2 hours, 29 minutes. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is have a go at this one at the bottom. So it's the difference between 11:08 and 12:20. So start at 11:08 and go to 12:20. So pause the video now and work that one out. Okay, so we should have started with hours. So we're going 11:08 to 12:08. So that's 1 hour. Now, if I go to another hour, that would get me to 1:08. So that's too many. So I've got to go in minutes now. So I'd get to 10, so go from 8 to 10. So I'd add 2 minutes to get to 12:10. Okay, and then I've only got to get to 12:20 then, so that's another 10 minutes. And then I can just add them together. So it'd be 1 hour and 12 minutes. Now, time can be really tricky. Okay, so please do not worry if you find this tricky, because it can be really tricky. I just want you to have a really good go. And I know you all work really hard and will give it your absolute best. Okay, so have fun today working out time. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of your work as usual. And I will see you tomorrow.